good, and welcome to the Lava Lounge. I'm Jeronimo Davis with Erupt Management, and today I have on another platinum producer, Deuce Hilton Wright III. He has produced records for some of your favorite artists. We're gonna start with Drake. We're gonna go with Big Sean. Uh, we're gonna go your probably one of your favorite TV shows. He's had it. You've heard his music on Blackish. We're gonna jump right into this interview and find out more about the history, the music that he's been making, the projects that he has going forward, and maybe some insight for some new producers and people who are interested in jumping into the producer game. Uh, Deuce, thank you for being on the Lava Lounge. Welcome.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Quick note: I'm actually the
Oh,
second,
this. I'm
but my
sorry. Your
son
son
is
is the
the
third.
third.
Excuse me. And congratulations on the new
All
son that
good.
you have there, and adding on another namesake. That's very important. I have a son that's the second as well. So for me, it was important. I'm definitely sure
Wow.
it's a blessing to be able to carry that forward.
Yeah, no, man, it's awesome. Appreciate that.
So I wanna jump straight into. I want to ask you. I know where you're from, but I want you to tell everybody where you're from, and and also how where you're from gave you maybe some influence to get started in the path that you did.
Yeah, for sure. So originally from Detroit, Michigan, um, which everyone knows for Motown, either Motown or the Bad Boys or most of the automobiles that people drive around the world with the big three. All of those played a big part of my life because my mom worked for GM
Wow.
for 35 years. Um, I was born in 1986, and the Bad Boys won the championship 89,
Yeah.
90. So, that was right in my adolescence. I just remember, obviously I'm 3 years old, 3 and 4.
Hmm.
So, I don't have the craziest memory, but I grew up with the pictures of seeing, the championship shirts that like I had on and my parents had on, and, just the vibe of like the cities. I just remember Bad Boys. So you pair that with Motown, which obviously by that time Motown physically was
Yeah.
gone to California. As Barry Gordy took things out there in the '70s, but still the remnants in the history of like the music in the city that has never died, even still to this day. And so I grew up going to that museum. One of my dad's best friends was a songwriter from
Okay.
Motown, and you just find that a lot in the city. People who are descendants
Hmm.
of that generation. I know so many sons and
Hmm.
grandsons of Motown legends who are friends of mine that I went to high school with. We make music with. So it's cool being part of this new wave of Motown that's stretching out and touching the world.
And I'm glad you brought that up. That's something that, quite honestly, I as many times as I've been to Detroit, and me and Deuce, we know each other through a mutual friend and music artist, and working with Sean and guys like Mike Posner, who we'll talk about further on. But when I went to Detroit, I was able to connect with something that I don't even know if maybe a lot, especially a lot of newer music artists, don't have that connection to hearing a lot of older Motown music nowadays. But Detroit has a musical essence about it that when you're in the city, you feel it. It's one of those things that I think kind of gets overlooked because maybe Detroit isn't L.A. or isn't New York, or now maybe with the Atlanta vibe, but it has a very special essence about it, and I definitely encourage artists to go. What do you I know you feel it. What do you? How else could you describe that to somebody who hasn't been to Detroit?
Um, I think that it's a soulful. Motown was really good at just like reflecting the time. And so, it's those times and just the culture of the city, which is Detroit is actually the blackest city in the
Hmm.
country. So when you talk about percentage wise, now, because I'm always interested in stuff like this, especially like as of late. And technically, New York has the most black
Hmm.
people. But that's because New York is the most
Yeah.
populous state, right? But the black people there don't make up like the largest percentage. Detroit, the city of Detroit proper, I believe is
Wow.
86% black. So you talk about just like the number of people there and the majority of them that are Black. And so, a lot of those people that are there came from the South.
Yeah.
There's like nobody in Detroit whose grandparents or like them themselves, depending on the generation, that migrated from the South. On my dad's end, they're from Georgia. My mom's end, they're from
Okay.
Mississippi. And so the story is always they fled the South to go to the Midwest for opportunity, work and
Yeah.
jobs. And so it was really like this whole generation that really was, working, built these communities that were self-sustaining and family community oriented. And the music was really representative of that. I think, back in the day, you would hear criticism of, I always joke with my wife because she's from Memphis,
Yeah.
they got Stax. And Stax, would play Motown like, that's just like some candy, it sounds crazy and ludicrous now, for somebody to like talk about Motown like that. But they were, the music was like a happier, lighter feel. Stax was a little more soulful. And you think like, just like it was a difference in culture there, because there was Detroit still had riots and race relations, but it was definitely a different type of race relations than it was, in the South, where it was a little more, blatant and prevalent. And so I think, and still, it's just a resilient city. It's gone through a lot of ups and downs. I still say, it's one of the best places to be from. Weather-wise, I cannot go and live there again. But
it's rough.
I definitely go and visit. Right. So yeah, I just think it's a lot of just resilience and it's a fighter spirit.
100%, 100%. So and speaking of Detroit, tell us how you cut your teeth in Detroit. What gave you your first start? What was your first big break in this music industry as a producer?
So my first big break actually came on the sync side, as it relates to not even so much TV film, but advertisement. And it was actually a radio ad. It was a National Jeep radio spot. That was like my first big thing. And I had worked at an advertising agency after my freshman year in college. And by way of that relationship, I got to know just that whole industry of, the ads, placing music in ads. I wasn't even working in that department. I was organizing tapes. I was in a completely different department, but I came to know people in the creative department and I saw how the company was set up. And, I just let it be known, hey, I know I got, I do music. And I ended up meeting the owner of the company. He took a liking to me and I just built relationships within the whole company. And now those people, work at other ad agencies and different agencies. And so, and I've still up until just even last year, one of the guys who used to work there, who's now at another company, gave me a call of our project. So everything I've done ad-wise has literally been from people I met at, this one company years ago. And then the company was Global Efficiency. And so that's where I got my first big break. And this was before like any placement or anything with artists. My first, artist placement was actually technically was with Mike Posner on a song that my cousin Brian we had a production duo called Wright II, and we produced the song on Mike's EP. And that was in 2009, December 2009, I believe, is when it came out. And so, it was crazy. And so that was, and we met Posner by way of Sean, but Mike's journey just started a little before Sean's did. And so, it's just crazy how things work out.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, of course, working with Mike Posner, who has gone on to, like I said, we've known each other for a long time. So I have also been in a great position to see the growth of their careers of Mike's and Sean's career over, this decade plus. Um, and you were instrumental into that, especially on Sean's side. How did that relationship come about? How did you guys find that sound that kind of helped um, him take that next step when he got signed and was able to give him that solidification of having producers behind him that would help just create this custom niche for him?
Yeah. So the relationship with Sean was forged through a mutual friend. So my cousin Brian, who the other half of the Right Tracks production duo, he went to school, high school, with a guy by the name of Jeron Henry.
Yeah.
And Jeron was friends with this kid, Sean, who had just graduated from Cass and had rapped for Kanye at the radio station. And the way it was explained to us, it was on my birthday. I was turning 19. We were at the gas station, which was across the street from the high school, just randomly. And, we see this guy, my cousin Brian sees this guy, he knows, what's up, man? Woo-woo. He's like, yeah, man, what's your number? We got to link up. We're working with Kanye now.
Yeah.
Just like random statement. And so I'm like, come on, we got to go. I don't know what this guy's talking about. And so we go to Canada, across the bridge to Windsor, because when you turn 19, that's the thing to do, legally drinking in Canada. I don't drink anyway, but it's just the thing to do. So, so we go over there, and sure enough, like within the next 2 weeks, he took Sean over my cousin Brian's house and told him like, yo, I rap for Kanye at the radio station, and I've been in touch with him here and there, and he told me don't go to school in the fall because he wants to sign me. And he showed him some pictures of him that he had with the Rockefeller chain on. Like Kanye took off the Rockefeller chain and let him take a picture with it at this party downtown, because this was right when the Super Bowl was in Detroit. And Sean had taken a picture with Ye chain, and so we like, it must be real, because I've worked with so many artists from the city just growing up, and everybody will tell you a story and just that. But it seemed real. His music was dope. He had bars. He could really spit. And so we were super like early in our career. So of course we like, we were just. I love that time because we were just making music because we loved it, and just doing it. And we were just working with him, doing songs, and he would say like, yo, I sent this to Kanye. He liked it. He said keep working with those producers you working with, stuff like that. And so I remember I think Brian had been with Sean a couple times, and like he had heard Kanye on the phone or like talked to him. He was on speaker. He was like, yeah, nah, he called him. And so like after, I want to say about a year and a half later, when Sean was in Atlanta, Sean came down to Atlanta because Kanye was going to be in Atlanta. And we both went by the studio, and sure enough, boom, there's Kanye West. And so like, but up until that point, he was just a dude from the city who, he could spit, and, it seemed like it could be something. And at that time in my career and life, I had the patience and I was open, to do something. Like right now, if that was the same scenario, it's just like, man, I'd be like, it's too early for me, But yeah, man, it's awesome just, being involved in, the early formative years of an artist's career. Like you're saying, just kind of like helping shape the sound that helped get his career off the ground. It was an honor to, play a small part.
And I want to touch on that. Like I said, we know each other through a mutual friend from Detroit, another music artist that was a group mate of Sean's, Pat Piff. And at my first interaction with hearing you guys' music, and I was hearing it from a totally different place, I was able to see and hear the direction and I can tell by the work that you and Brian were putting in. And then eventually when we did get to meet, the times that I was coming to Detroit and we were doing the different shows and different stuff like that out in LA or whatever, it was that foundation of having a team, knowing what your sound is, and having people willing to sacrifice in their own right towards a bigger and greater goal, which can kind of help offset jumpstart a lot of things for everybody. So I think that that's an important lesson, and a good thing for a lot of newer artists to hear. When you said that, you wouldn't necessarily think that you were ready. If you had to go back in time, like, you may not have been ready for that opportunity if you knew that that was going to happen. But it's a very unique story, I believe, just to see where you guys all individually came from and were able to come together to put together this project. So all of that, all the lessons you learned, what now is your passion in the music industry?
I think now is doing whatever it is I want to do. That's my passion now. And the thing I always say, if I could do anything, my favorite thing to do is to sit in a room with other, creators, songwriters, producers that are just as talented or preferably more talented than me, and just work on great songs, whether it's idea I have, somebody else has, and just sit up there trying to crack the code and making it the best. Like, that's really, because writing songs is like putting
Yeah.
together a puzzle, and you're always trying to crack the code to get it right. And that was that's really just like the most fun for me. Like, that's when I'm my most happiest, is when I'm just making great music with great people and just having fun, and just kind of just doing it intently, but like with all the tools and resources, also with people that are also passionate, talented, and thoughtful. So that's where I'm at now. And so I've said, I've recently, started this new company, 715, which is an outlet for me to release different songs or projects with different artists that I know or that are dope. Because oftentimes what will happen is, when you're working with an artist, especially with a major artist, it's not in their hands when their album or whenever their music can be released. And so, that can get frustrating after a while. And what happens over years is you have hard drives worth of music that will never be heard. And, that can be irritating. And with independent artists, sometimes I've done things with independent artists who might have a following, whatnot, but I have a background in marketing. That was like my major in college. Even in high school, I was in DECA, the marketing club. But I've just always had a mind for the science of selling. How do you blow this up, and what tactics can you get? And so I would see artists take missteps, and I just wasted, my time, a beat, my production, a song I wrote on, this project that didn't get rolled out right. And so for me, I really wanted to, just have an outlet for me to be able to develop projects and releases and put them out in a way that's still collaborative. And so, yeah, that's what led me to that.
And that is something that I do hear from music producers as they spend time, is that in this industry, is that it becomes less about the chase for the placements and more about getting back to what you were doing when you actually, before money was even part of the equation, which is making music for the love of it, for the feel of it, making music with others, which is really where the great things do happen. And it's refreshing. And I hope that a lot of other newer artists find it refreshing to hear somebody like yourself that has major placements and credits to say that I want to work with independent artists because we have flexibility, because we have freedom, because um, we can share and work together without it being, yes, it's business, but without it business leading the way and maybe causing some blurred vision while the job is being done. So I think and I really hope that people are that artists get to hear that from you and still have a belief that you don't always have to look for this one particular thing and that there are people who are willing to work with you if you do one of the things you mentioned earlier, which is create a relationship. I think that's one of the biggest things that
Right.
even more so than what people do is just the relationships you have with people. And before I'll roll into your next big project, I would like for you to just speak on the relationship aspect of this industry and how that can make or break a person's career.
Yeah, well, relationships are everything. And even more so, I think it's they say, it's who you know, but I always like to go one step further and say, it's who knows you. Because you can know a lot of people and not get your phone call answered. But if they know of you, then that changes everything. And so I it it's literally just you can have two people who can have equally great songs, but the one person can get done with the session and they can make a call to the artist or the artist manager who they've known for 10 years and they're close even outside the music because they helped them move and they've been over their mother's house for dinner, like and say like, yo, play this for so and so right now. It's a completely different experience than the person
Yeah.
who is buried in 20,000 direct messages trying to get the same song to somebody. And so it's everything. And but the beauty about the internet is the internet and just technology, but
Yeah.
really the reach you have with the internet, some of the digital marketing tools that are available today is you can have a very successful independent career, and not be worried or concerned about,
Yeah.
getting on with anyone like in the industry. And once again, once you get that position, they'll all know you. So yeah, no, it's I would just say in anything, do your best because when you do your best, people will know you. And then always be kind, be nice, be good to people. That's just like a very
Yeah.
you don't have to pay any money for that. Most of us were taught that when we were young. The very very simple principles. Because I've reaped the benefits and I've blessed people that were good to me before. Like I can name people who took my meetings and you know, maybe don't have a position right now. And if they were to call me and say, yo, I got an artist, I'm trying to get off the ground, I'll be like,
Yeah.
what you need, like just because I just believe in that type of stuff. So same people you see going on the way going up, same ones you're gonna
True.
see going down. And yeah, so my name is good in a lot of rooms, like so that's the most thing
And
that's
so
important to me.
with that, I see that you launched something called Pen Practice. Um, I'm, I want to let you explain it, but my gut tells me
Hmm.
that this is something that over your years, this is maybe a tool that you wanted to provide for some people to help them have a better chance at their careers. Explain it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So Pin Practice is a product of 715, and it was birthed out of this message that I get all the time on the internet from aspiring songwriters and artists who say, hey, can you send me some beats to write to? Or people I've run into, like, I'm just getting started. I got all these songs in my head, or I'm a poet, but I just need some beats that I can write to. And so that's really where it came from. When you hear that with this industry that's been birthed in the last several years of producers and or more so, beat makers who
Hmm.
have like the shops and the leases and things like that. That really came um, after I really kind of got my career off the ground, and so it's a different model than what, and kind of counterproductive to kind of like some of the larger
Hmm.
visions I had with like my music and my library. But I was really trying to make sense of, how can I tap in on this as well. And so I think, the beat leasing and stuff like that, it works well for artists that, have a project they're trying to get off the ground independently. What Pen Practice really steps in is for before that phase. These are the people who
Yeah.
they've never stepped foot in the studio. They don't know anything. They just are learning how to work GarageBand. And so what I did was I took some unreleased instrumentals from my catalog, and I made them available on all the streaming services, so they're accessible to everybody everywhere. But then they can also go to penpracticemusic.com and download the session files, and that allows them to import it into something like a GarageBand, to
Yeah.
where they can just get a little more in depth with the recording. Um, but then I've also made the tracks available on the Voicey app,
Yeah. It's a cool app.
which I love. Voicey it's like the TikTok for songwriters, to where producers can upload beats, and then you can have vocalists, and then people sing over the beats, and they can do harmonies. Other people can collaborate, and so I made it available on there. And so whenever you're done with your song, however you record it, upload it to the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, using that hashtag Pen Practice, and it allows me to really kind of like hear all of these singers, songwriters, and I've discovered like some really good ones, and people have made really funny songs and videos, and so it's just like this cool community that's almost been built up. But it's a way for me to say, hey, here goes some tracks that no one's using, that are great, and I'm going to make it a volume of Pen Practice and put it out there. And so, from a business standpoint, it's great. And then it's also in a way like me kind of like still
Yeah.
putting my hand out to, people that are aspiring, to kind of like give them something. And I take the songs that I like the most, and I upload them to the Pen Practice Instagram page. And it's been growing exponentially, all organically. I think right now we're a
Okay.
little over 600 followers, and that's just within like a couple months of launching. So we're growing
That's
at like
excellent.
50 followers a week, just off of that, and I haven't even really seen a lot of the other marketing strategies with that. But it but it's been really and, and dope, and so more value coming, really appreciating it and coming up with
Well,
some good
I
stuff.
mean, it sounds like an amazing project, and I'm definitely urging all artists when you get a chance to, kind of get in there and check that out. And it's penpracticemusic.com, correct? I think I'm right on that. So the biggest thing that I want us to kind of just take away from that is that if you're a new artist and you're looking for a way to practice your penmanship, your skills in songwriting, um, this is one of those ways that you can get some high quality production that's arranged in uh, a professional manner, and you can practice your songwriting. You can play with ideas. You can do all these things, and like you were saying, you can upload it and kind of be a part of this community, to where you can get some feedback, and then also get feedback from the source as well. So, Deuce, I wanna give you one more time to kind of plug how people can kind of access that when they go to the website, what they're gonna see, and what they should look for, and then yeah, just plug that part for me real quick.
Cool. Yeah. So I just made it really simple. Like you said, it's penpracticemusic.com. That's all spelled phonetically, PEN. And when they go there, they'll be able to access Pen Practice on all of the available streaming services. And then they'll also be able to download the session files to use if they want to take that extra step in recording. and there's links on there to the Facebook page, to the Instagram page. But it's a very straightforward landing page to where you go there, boom, and you can pull it up on the Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever the preferred streaming services are.
It sounds wonderful. I'm definitely wishing you much success in that project. And I want to say thanks for joining us here on the Lava Lounge. You are a major hip hop contributor to the culture. You definitely put in a lot of work, and I know you still have a lot of more years to go. But we do want to say thank you from hip hop in general for what the work that you have put in already, and for also just trying to be a beacon for the future generations of musicians, producers, and entertainment industry as a whole. If you want to make sure,
man, thank you for having me.
No problem, man, no problem. Make sure you follow Deuce on Instagram. Make sure you check out Pen Practice. The Instagram handle is what is it?
Pen Practice Music.
Pen Practice Music
for the Pen Practice Instagram.
Perfect. And then
Deuce WT is my personal.
.music. 715 .music
yep.
For the IG handle to go ahead and check out his new production company that he has up and running for everybody. Again, thank you for joining the Lava Lounge, and we will see you on the next episode. Peace. This week's Lava Lounge musical guest is rapper, singer, songwriter, Mari Taylor from Oakland, California. Mari, welcome to the Lava Lounge. Thank you for being here.
It's all love. Thank you for having me.
So tell everybody a little bit about your current music projects, where they can listen to them, and how they can follow you.
I'm currently working on some right now. I don't know when it's dropping because life just be happening, but I'm working on it. It's called Tailor Made.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I have a bunch of singles y'all can check out on any platform. Pink and Blue is my favorite. I'm just saying.
Okay, for sure. And so Mari's going to do an in-studio performance of a blend of two songs. One is a classic remake of a record, Return of the Mac, and the other one is Vibes. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind those two records.
Yeah, well, Return of the Mac is just like a classic worldwide. You know, it just is that feel-good song.
Yeah.
So one day I'm just walking to the store with my brother. We hear it slapping out the whip, and I'm like, let's just redo it. It was a joke at first, and then everybody was just like, you know, off of it. It was playing in the club and everything.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah. So Vibes is just kind of like a follow-up of that. You know, because when you hear that song, you just get a vibe. You just instantly feel good. Everybody can attest to that. So I wrote that just feeling good, you know. It's about feeling good, getting money, catching a vibe, you know.
Dope. So check out this performance. Make sure you tune in every week for some new music.
You didn't know, as I said it way before. Baby, now I gotta go, cause I told you from the start not to play with my heart. Now I had to come again, and now I'm gonna win. Hey, you lied to me all those times I said that I love you. You lied to me when you knew that I would die for you. You lied to me all this pain you said I never feel. Well, I do. You know. Hey. Yeah. Run that shit up, Robbie. Look, I just caught a vibe, yeah. The Henny's got me right, yeah. Get a bag, get it right, yeah. No, this is something like, yeah. Hey, I just caught a vibe, yeah. The Henny's got me right, yeah. Get a bag, get it right, yeah. No, this is something like, yeah. I'm gon' pull up in two-seater, strap in the bag like I'm a Dia. Yeah, baby bad, but I don't need ya. Ain't about a bag, then I can't keep ya. Cause you knowin' what it is. Don't call me baby, cause I am not your kid. We stacking paper, yeah, we counting Benjamins. Tryna touch hymns, give a fuck about. I just caught a vibe, yeah. The Henny's got me right, yeah, yeah. Get a bag, get it right, yeah, yeah. No, this is something like, yeah. Hey, I just caught a vibe, yeah, yeah. The Henny's got me right, yeah, yeah. Get a bag, get it right, yeah, yeah. No, this is something like, yeah, yeah. I just caught a vibe, yeah, yeah. The Henny's got me right, yeah, yeah. Get a bag, get it right, yeah, yeah. No, this is something like, yeah. I just caught a vibe, yeah, yeah. The Henny's got me right, yeah, yeah. Get a bag, get it right, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this is something like, yeah.